Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Project Ozone 3 Kappa mode. Oh yeah, guys. We've been working on armor for the last few episodes, and I said we're going to do something different today, but we're going to do one more piece of armor, and then we're going to do something different. How about that? So I was looking at our quest log here for making the armor. This one, I do believe... not the next one, but the one after. I do believe we have to go to another dimension to do. So we're going to hold off on that one. But this one, the dreadium samurai armor, we can do right now. And I feel like we should just go ahead and knock that out. So I was looking at it. So the dreadium samurai armor all requires these dreadium plates. And I think I counted we need 51 of these things. And in order to make that, we need the dreadium ingots. And last episode, we made the 10-10-10 dreadium seeds, and I think we even have enough dreadium ingots in our system already to just go ahead and craft these. But then we also need this dread cloth. This is a craftable material. We need dread fragments, string, and leather in order to make it. So we're gonna need like about a stack of those, about 8 stacks of this, give or take, in order to do everything. So let's go ahead and give this a go and see what we can do here. I don't know how much of the dread fragments we have. Oh yeah, we got plenty. So 60, that's enough. And then we will go ahead and make the dreadium plates, and that's enough. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna have more than what we need, but that is fine. Okay, so I will swap over to the lava armor, take it off. We'll come over here, and let's go ahead and upgrade one more time to the next tier. So this is dreadium samurai armor. I think I've looked at this armor before, but I'm kind of curious to see what it looks like again. There it is. Awesome. It's very red appearing. All right. So I am very red right now. And it looks like it gives you speed 2, strength, resistance, fire resistance, and night vision. Interesting. So that's a lot of buffs that you get for this armor. The resistance is really nice. I guess the strength is pretty good too. Speed, does that affect my FOV? Like at what point? Okay, so the body, okay, does each one of these say on it that it gives you a special thing? It doesn't say. So which one gives you what? So it looks like the boots themselves give you speed 2. The head gives you night vision. The legs give you fire resistance, and then the chest plate gives you strength and resistance. Huh. Okay. That's kind of interesting. I like it. Well, anyway, we're not going to be using this armor. This is just to get us going here. Let's swap back over to our rhino beetle armor, and this armor will just stare at us while we do things ominously. Anyway, so now that that's done, we can go ahead and unbookmark this. So I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do today for this episode. And I was kind of going through the different quests here. Let's claim that one. And I was just looking through different things, and I saw here that we didn't do the conductive iron alloy, or crude steel. We needed 12 of each of these ingots in our inventory. So I went ahead and I just knocked those out off camera. Stellar alloy is something we can't do. Crystalline pink slime ingot. I'm not even sure how to make that, but let's take a look at that. So that is pink slime ingot plus greens and pies. That's something we'll worry about later. I'm sure we'll have to make that for something. Anyway, what I wanted to do today is I wanted to start looking at knocking out these nuclear craft quests. We've done a lot of the stuff with nuclear craft, but we have all of the quests locked still. Yeah, we haven't unlocked anything because I never made a manufactory. We have made a chemical reactor, or about 5 of those. I think we have the alloy furnace. We have the melter. I don't think we have some of those. Anyway, so yeah, we got the crystallizer here and the ingot former. So we're going to have a lot of quests complete, and then we've made a whole bunch of these different materials. So anyway, let's go ahead and make ourselves a manufactory. So manufactory. I know the manufactory actually has had some recipes in here that I've seen before. What is that? Interesting. It's like, what? It's got like a face on it. Anyway, yeah, I've seen that there's been some recipes using the manufactory for certain things, like making this crushed quartz, for instance, and the prismarine crystals. The manufactory might be something that we want to get hooked up with maximum speed upgrades for doing certain things around here. I'll have to go through, but like pulverized obsidian, I think it can probably do this faster than our pulverizer with max augments. So that could be very useful. And there's a few other things in here that it can do. So this could be a better pulverizer, I guess, instead of our normal thermal expansion one. So just something to think about. So let's go ahead and make a pattern to craft this guy up. Can I make more blink patterns? Maybe? How about 20 of them? I'm not sure if we're going to need 20, but we definitely are going to need more than 7 going forward. So let's craft, or I guess, set the pattern here. So this is going to need Enderium gears. I'm pretty certain we don't have a recipe for Enderium gears yet, and we definitely don't by looking at that. So we can make a recipe for Enderium gears, and I'll go ahead and do that over here. That's in the compressor, and we'll just throw that right there. Perfect. Okay, what else did we need here? I believe we had the machine chassis already done. I don't think we have a pulverizer. You know what? I didn't even realize pulverizer is part of the recipe. I don't think we have a pulverizer recipe. So let's make one of those. So we'll switch back to the pattern crafting. One of these, one of those. I think that should just work. Let's see if we can get this thing going here. So I'm going to put this next to our other nuclear craft stuff. And then pulverizer, I guess I'll just throw in here somewhere. All right, so manufactory will allow us to craft this. Okay, so we are missing compressed flint block. I could have sworn we had a bunch in there. I guess I uncompressed them a long time ago, but that's fine. We can make a recipe to craft those. So that is under, no, that was the pulverizer, right? So we can do that, make a recipe for this. Pulverizer. We will add it right next to there, and manufactory. So now we should be able to craft everything, and it looks good to me. So lots of things are happening here. We're making some bronze gears. We're making bronze itself. All right, cool. Everything's happening like it should, and done. Awesome. So manufacturing, that's going to unlock a whole lot of quests, I do believe. Oh, yeah. All right, so now that fanfare is all over, salt mixer is another one that we need, and that seems to be locking out our electrolyzer, which I know that we've made. And then these other ones I don't think we've done anything with, but we have made the chemical reactor, so doing that should unlock those. So salt mixer, I made a recipe for that, and again, it seems like a pretty easy and straightforward thing. We can just auto craft, or we had all the sub parts auto craftable, so all I had to do is just make the pattern specifically for the salt mixer, and we're done. Okay, so that's gonna unlock, like, I don't know, 4 more quests or something. Let's take a look at this. It looks like a total of 3 of them. So there's the electrolyzer, and 1 more, the chemical reactor. Nice. So making 2 different machines unlocked all these other things. That's kind of crazy. All right, so other things around here: fuel reprocessor, isotope, decay hastener. We haven't really needed to get into any of the nuclear stuff in nuclear craft as of this point. I'm not sure if there's any point that we will need to do this, but I do know that you can make a decent amount of power from nuclear craft doing like the fusion or the fission, different types of power generation. But speaking of power, there is also the extreme reactors over here that we have not touched at all. Now, currently, the power that we're making is off nether stars. We have 1 nether star generator, and that's our entire power. I think it might make sense for us to start looking at extreme reactors here, trying to get all the recipes done for all of these different things, and just kind of see what the cost is for this different, well, I guess for that mod, for the different parts of it. So the extreme reactor, we're going to want something like the reactor controller, and that requires an ender resonator, which I'm pretty sure we can auto craft right now. Microcontroller case, which is a chest, redstone, printed circuit board. Like, none of that's super difficult. We have that all on auto craft, I am pretty sure. And the reactor casing for 4 of those does require a reactor casing core, which is a simple machine chassis, which is some electrotine and stuff. That's not so bad. And electrum plates, yeah, I think we can do pretty much all of that. So reactor, redstone, flux power tap, energetic silver, looks all pretty much the same things that we have done previously. What else is something that might be a little crazy? Reactor access port, nope, that's not bad. We'd probably want to take a look at the control rod. I'm looking for it, this one. Control rod, and that's not bad either. Okay, maybe the reactor fuel rod. Nope. All of this is, well, HOP graphite. That's a gotcha. So HOP graphite, that is made using the squeezer. Well, let's take a look at this. Let's bookmark the HOP graphite. Aha, so we can do seeds for this. That's probably what we're going to want to do. Make enough graphite to make the seed for that, and then we don't have to worry about that again. So we only need we only need 4 HOP graphite ingots in order to make the seed. That's nice. Okay, well, I think that's going to be our next stop, is to make this. So we need coal coke turned into coal coke dust. 8 of those turns into 1 HOP graphite. And then we need to do that 4 times. So that's going to require us to get the squeezer and all that kind of stuff, I do believe. Let's actually take a look at the recipe here. So HOP graphite dust smelts into the ingot. HOP graphite, yeah, the industrial squeezer requires the coke dust. And coke dust comes from the crusher. So we will have to reset up some of those immersive engineering machines and then tear them back down again. But I'm pretty sure we did all of those before. We look at immersive. We should have like all the parts for all those different things, like the wooden barrel is part of the squeezer, I'm pretty sure. And anyway, I'll go ahead and get that stuff set up. We will get the coal coke crushed, and we will make some HOP graphite. We'll be back, guys. All right, guys, so we got our immersive engineering machines made once again. We have our crusher and our squeezer. So in the crusher, I am just going to go ahead and drop in 4 blocks of coal coke. That should turn into more than what we need, but it will do them 9 at a time, which is faster than doing them 1 at a time. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and have a little bit of extra, but it's not a big deal. So we'll take those and then we'll put that over here into our squeezer. And this is taking more power than I thought I was going to take. Okay, let me grab this extra Spectre coil. I assume I can put extra power in there like that. Oh, looks like it worked. Well, anyway, we got 4 HOP graphite dust. Nice. And then I'll put the Spectre coil back. I expect we're going to be tearing these machines down. I mean, we haven't really needed them for much. And it just seems kind of silly having them around if we're not using them, I guess. I don't know. To me, it seems silly. Anyway, we can put the HOP graphite dust over here into our furnace, and now we should have HOP graphite ingots. Sweet. So now that those are a thing, we need the stardust and the superium and all that kind of stuff, which we have done many times before. So I'll just go ahead, make the seed, 10, 10, 10 it. We'll have all the HOP graphite. We will be right back. All right, guys, so we have our HOP graphite 10, 10, 10 now. So we have these ready to go, and I got plenty of HOP graphite in the system that we have collected. So the next thing is we need to get these different parts for the reactor ready to go, and I was making all the different patterns and I was checking them out. So the reactor controller does require these 3 items at the bottom here to be auto-crafted. So comparator, microcontroller case, and an ender resonator. So some of these are pretty easy, like the comparator, for instance. If we do this and that and this, I don't know if we actually have redstone torches auto-craftable, so I'll make sure we add those in there too. So those should be pretty easy to get going here. Just got to find a home for them. There and there is fine. Okay, so now we know how to do redstone comparators, so we can remove that from the list. I don't know why yellowite ore was there. I don't think I bookmarked that on purpose. Microcontroller case tier 2, that requires the microchip tier 3, which we are already auto crafting for, I think, the capacitor recipe, I think. And then the printed circuit board I know we're doing for something else. So pretty much everything there we should just be able to craft directly. I don't think there's anything special about this particular recipe other than we've never crafted it before. And then finally, we are going to need to do an ender resonator here. And that is silicon, solarium, enderman head, and vibrant alloy. Okay, so all of that stuff. And then we're using a different type of silicon here. So we want this silicon. And that should be all we need to do. So that is a slice and splice. And then the other one we'll put next to, how about the comparator? All right, so now if we want to do the controller for the reactor, I think everything should be good to go, and it looks like it. So we'll start that recipe up and make sure everything goes according to plan. The only slowdown here is the vibrant alloy, and then of course it's got to make that ender resonator in the slice and splice. But there we go, there's a reactor controller legacy. Awesome, so that was pretty simple. So if we go back to the reactor, we're gonna want, oh, I don't know, we definitely need one redstone flux power tap, so we can craft that one up. We're definitely gonna need 2 of these, so we can have that crafting up. So there's our power tap, and then we'll have our 2 access ports here in just a moment. And then beyond that, we're gonna want probably redstone so we can turn the reactor on and off. So I will make 2 of those. We might switch it over to a computer port, but I think in this mod pack we're using open computers and not computer craft. So I don't think I have a program that will work with that unless I go and write it myself and make a computer and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, there's just open computers in here. This does work with Lua, but I don't really know the mod too well, so we'll probably just do basic way to turn the reactor on and off so we're not just wasting yellorium. So other than that, we do need a control rod for every single fuel rod, and then we need all the casing to support the extreme reactor. And I don't know the size that we're going to go on this just yet. Maybe we will just assume that we're going to do 5 rods for now, and then we can expand later. I think 5 is a fairly modest size reactor, and probably 4 tall on the fuel rods times 5. So we're going to want 20 of those. So we're missing some pulverized lead. Well, that's easy enough to do. I should probably make a recipe for that, but it's just easy enough to throw those in there and call it a day. Okay, so we wanted the reactor fuel rods and start those up. Okay, so now we have our 5 control rods. We're making the fuel rods, and then we're going to need the casing. I have no idea how much we're going to need. 200? Does that seem reasonable? I think so. So we're starting to run a little low on electrotine, but we do have electrotine seeds, so I can go ahead and farm up a bunch of that stuff. They're in here somewhere. There they are. Yeah, we can go ahead and farm up a bunch of that and take care of that issue. Well, let me go ahead and get the rest of this stuff going here, and then we'll be right back. All right, so we now have pretty much everything ready to go. We have a bunch of reactor casing here. We have reactor control rods, we have redstone port, the access port, the flux power tap, the reactor controller, and of course our fuel rods here. Now we're gonna need fuel in order to power this, so we have some yellorium. So we are gonna need a better supply of yellorium though, so we can sift for it, or we can make the yellorium seeds. Yeah, so it's another tier 5 seed, so we're just gonna go ahead and do that. Oh, we're gonna get a bunch of quest completes here for other things that we have done in the extreme reactor section apparently. Yeah, plutonium is something we made a while ago. I don't remember exactly what for, but I know we had some in the system. And there's our yellorium seeds. Okay. So like we do, I'm just gonna go ahead and 10 these, but I'll do this off camera. But again, the way I've been doing it is I just plant the seed in the center, let it spread to the other 4 spots, like so. I generally set it to nighttime, so this goes way faster. Get rid of this one and then put in the double crop sticks. We'll just do one of these together. The slow way, do the cross crop sticks like that, so it has 4 parents. And generally speaking, we get anywhere between 2 to 6 stat bonus increases per operation. And 10-10-10ing these seeds only takes like 5 minutes. Like, it's not a big deal. So I'll put these electrotine seeds away, and then we can just toss this stuff. We don't need that anymore. Okay. So now that we have that done, we got to figure out where we're going to put our extreme reactor. I think it's going to be down here on this lower level. It's not really something we need to look at, and we got a lot of space down here. So we can, I don't know, throw it in this corner back here. Does a circle have a corner? This edge back here. Yeah, that'll give us plenty of space to expand it out and make it bigger should we choose to do so. Is this the center? I think that's the center right here. Okay, so if we wanted to place this down, we need to figure out the size of it. So let's just do something like this for now. And I said I was going to do 5, but you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, we might just up that to 9. We might just do like a 3x3 in the center here of these fuel rods. Do that 4 tall, and then we'll see how much power that makes. And if it's not enough, then we can always increase it. So if we're going to be doing 9 times 4, we need a total of 36. We had 20, so I need 16 more fuel rods. So we can craft that up pretty easily. And then we are also going to need 4 more control rods. And we should have everything. Like, this isn't a big deal to tell it to craft some of these extra things. We should be okay. So this is going to be 4 tall. So that's the level 2, level 3, and then 4 is going to be right there. All right. Cool. So the control rods are being made, and then those are going to sit on top of these things, like so, and then fuel rods. Cool. All right, so we just need 2 more rods, 2 more control rods, and then we have this thing, the core of the reactor set. So if I remember correctly, like, it seems like this changes all the time, but it seemed like you wanted 3 blocks of space between the fuel rod and the outer wall, and then this had to be filled with some kind of coolant. So I generally make the reactor in this kind of configuration. So it's going to be this size, and then we're going to need some kind of coolant inside of it in order to cool the fuel rods. And I can't remember what the best is. It changes all the time. I know like cryothium is generally pretty good, but since that fluid sinks, like the source block sinks, you need to fill up every single source block full of it. Whereas you could use something like resonant ender and just do the top layer, and it can flow down, and that works just the same as if everything was full of that particular block. So that might be what we do, is we just go ahead and do resonant ender. That might not be the best, but it'll definitely get us going for what we need to do here. So I'll go ahead and finish up the reactor, get this stuff all laid out, and then we will be right back, guys. All right, not gonna lie, I thought the reactor is a little too small, so I went ahead and I scaled it up by 5 more layers. So it's gonna be a 9 by 9 by 9 on the inside, 11 by 11 by 11 on the outside. We have our access ports here, the fuel in, fuel out, our reactor controller, which doesn't work until the multi-block's formed, our redstone power tap where we get, or I'm sorry, a redstone flux power tap. Yeah, that's where you get the power out. And then up here, I put down a floor of dirt so we can lay down 72 buckets of resonant ender. So one of these buttons, on use empty. Yeah, so one of these buttons allows us to place source blocks everywhere. Now you don't actually have to place a source block in every single square, but I prefer to do that. Completely optional. Like you could just spread it out so there is flowing source, or I guess flowing liquid everywhere. Yep, you could do it that way and then save a bunch, but honestly it doesn't really matter. Like we can easily get all of this different material, so it's not something that I personally worry about. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get this all filled in so it's one nice solid source of the resonant ender on top. We'll vein mine away all of the dirt, And then we should have proper coolant inside our extreme reactor here. So we're just missing source here, and one here. And then these 9 over here should be the last of them. Cool. And that was the last. Very good. All right, so everything has now been filled in. We can just get rid of this dirt. Vein mine it? Why is my vein mine not working? There we go. I guess I must have accidentally had it on a shape or something. So you can see it's all flowing down there. And once it reaches the bottom, it should get quite dark inside. Well, dark enough. Okay, so everything is now full in there. So now we can grab our wand and some extra reactor casing here. And just fill this all in. And I'm kind of curious to see what kind of power this reactor makes in this particular mod pack. I don't remember. Generally speaking, in Project Ozone packs, the reactor has been buffed, so you make a lot of power. This thing should be non-spawnable as well. I'm going to press F9? No, F7. Yeah, so pressing F7, there's no X's up there, and if I remove one of these torches, we get X's here. So yeah, this should be non-spawnable. We don't have to worry about lighting it up unless we want it lit up ourselves. So not a lot to see in here. Everything's 0. Let's grab some fuel. I don't know how much that's going to take. Probably quite a lot, more than that. And this, okay, so now we're full. That was quite a bit that we put in there. So that's all full. And now we need to turn this thing on to see what kind of power we can generate. So that is making power real quick. We're making 200, 300 RF per tick, 500 or 350. So 400,000. That's really not so bad. We have high fuel reactivity, so that's going to make it so the fuel doesn't burn up as quickly, but we are still using quite a bit. So it looks like we're capping out about 424,000 RF per tick. That's really good. Now, a thing that we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to make sure this reactor turns itself off so we're not just wasting yellorium all the time. So, oh, I need a torch here. So back here, I put in the redstone ports. And on this one, we are inputting the redstone signal into the conduit. And over here, we're going to output that redstone signal into the reactor redstone port. So this one is going to provide a redstone signal when we're above 70% power inside the internal capacity of this reactor. And what that will do is set the control rods fully inserted, so it essentially turns the reactor off while we're above 70% power in the reactor. And then when we drop below that, it'll remove the control rods, the reactivity will continue, and we'll generate power again. So really it's just kind of like an on-off switch. 70% might be too... We'll have to play around with this. We might want to put it at 50 or 40 or something like that, because when this reactor turns on, it builds power really quickly. And what we don't want to do is like max out our power and waste all of the extra power that we're generating here. Or I guess waste the fuel because we're generating so much power too quickly and we can't store it anywhere. So anyway, that should be pretty good. In fact, you know what? Let's just go ahead and change it now. We'll put this at 50%. I think that's probably going to be better overall. So we do that. And if we turn the reactor on, it should not really do anything because the control rod should be fully inserted. Yeah, so we're at 100% control rod insertion, which stops the reaction, which makes it so the reactor is essentially off, but it's still on. All right, so we are pretty much set. Now, the next thing we need to do is get our wireless power over here. So I need to go get our Spectre energy injector down by, well, I guess all the way downstairs by our mob farm. Let's grab our carrot thing. I know there's a carrot thing in here somewhere, right here. Yeah, that prevents us from getting the wither effect. So we'll just go all the way down and we can turn off this connection and we can turn this all the way off as well. Get that out of here, those out of here, and magnet is on. All right, I'll get rid of the connection over here shortly. So the only thing we need to do is either put this directly on here, and that's now full. So we're draining power. Okay, and when that drops below 50, we should see this thing turn back on and start filling it back up. And it should fill up quite quickly, I think. Almost there, almost there. There we go. So we're above 50. It turned on, then it turned off. And we are, in fact, wasting fuel. So that's one of those things that I wanted to see, like, how we were doing. So let's make this, like, 30, I suppose. That way, when it turns itself off, we shouldn't just be wasting that fuel. Eventually, we'll have all this power being stored up in like a draconic energy ball or something like that, and it won't really matter because we'll have unlimited power storage. Whatever we make, we store, and then we can use later. In this particular scenario, though, like if we make too much, then it just goes to waste. Yeah. Anyway, I think we're doing pretty good here. Well, I made one more change to this thing. I set it so the control rods go 100% when we get to 20% energy buffer. We could make it so like it only puts the control rods to, I don't know, 20% or something. So it's not fully releasing them. But yeah, at this point, I think we are pretty well set. Like it turns on for just a little bit and the power goes all the way up. And I think we cap out for about 5 or 10 seconds. We're just making just a little bit extra power that's going to waste. It's not a whole lot, but I think we're going to be pretty much okay. Yeah, now it's starting to drop down just a little bit. Yeah, so that's not so bad. It's not ideal, it's not perfect, but we don't have like a large power storage, so when we get that, it'll be a little bit better, I expect. But we are no longer running off our nether stars, so every nether star that we get is essentially EMC that we're making for later on down the road when we get into Project E. We're not quite there yet, and we've only used 3 of these cyanites, or we've only used 3 yellorium to get 3 cyanite back. Yeah, so that's not so bad. Nether star generator served us well for the little amount of time that we used it, but now I think we're on to bigger and better things, or I guess more extreme things, since this is an extreme reactor. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Project Ozone 3. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to leave a like on this episode if you liked it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.